I mentioned that here along the Wasatch Front in our very area, there are some reportedly haunted sites, and certainly sites of dubious report. And Brian Gates joins us right now with Grimm Tours, and you can get more information on them, by the way, by going to Grimm, 2 M's there, GrimmGhostTours.com. Brian, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Doug. Glad to be here today.
Well, let's talk about these tours that you do. I understand there are various tours that you can sign up for.
There are. Right now, we have 2 tours going on. The first one is the Old Town Tour, which we take people around downtown Salt Lake to some locations, including the Rio Grande train station, where legend has it of a lady in purple who was killed either by accident or she was pushed by her lover into an oncoming train. And we also have an EVP recording at one point, and like I said, her being pushed, where we've heard her saying that he pushed me.
Wow, now an EVP recording is what? How do you get that?
Well, basically it stands for electronic voice phenomenon, and you just take your basic tape recording, just let it sit there on record, and you won't hear anything, but the tape will pick up other things that you can't hear by yourself. Later on, when you play it back, you'll hear it for what it is.
Now, where were you when you actually recorded this?
We were inside the Rio Grande train station at the time, actually, like inside the main lobby by the back entrance, where trains used to arrive and depart when it used to be a train station.
Wow. Now, you can actually hear on the tape then, he pushed me?
In a low whisper, female voices saying, he pushed me.
Wow. You know, there's something about the Denver Rio Grande Railroad Station. I don't know what it is. I've had friends who have been the head of the history department in the state of Utah, directors. I've had people that work there. I understand that place really carries somewhat of a reputation. Down in the basement, I understand it's pretty spooky down there, too.
It is, and as you said, you know multiple directors, and I'm pretty sure one of those directors is the same one that we tell on our tours of the director who on Christmas Eve, while she was working late one night, she heard footsteps coming up to her door. She opened the door. No one was there, and she simply just wished the spirit Merry Christmas, and she hadn't heard from the spirit ever since.
Wow. You know, the things like that, they almost send a little chill up your back. Now, when you mentioned that's the downtown tour, and that's probably what the most popular stop would be, Denver Rio Grande?
Yes.
Now, what is the other tour? Tell us about that one.
The other tour that we do is called the Outer Reaches, and what we do is we go a little bit further out of the downtown Salt Lake area. We make stops at the Fort Douglas Cemetery. We go to the Temple Square area. We walk by there a little bit, and we also go out to Ted Bundy's house that he actually owned here in Salt Lake City.
Ted Bundy's house. Now, that has to be creepy. Is that up Emigration Canyon?
It is.
Wow. I understand you actually have to give a little warning that when you're going up there. That really freaks some people out.
It does, actually. When we arrive at the stop, we try to give people a heads up of how intense of a site that it is. Even though the house is no longer standing, we take people onto the foundation of where the house once was. And usually a lot of customers tell us the fact that they always get this uneasy, unwelcoming, overwhelming feeling every time. So we try to give people a heads up, if you need to, you can stay on the bus. But in the end, everyone usually comes off the bus and walks with us over to Ted Bundy's house.
You were telling me that that's the most popular stop of the Outer Tour.
Yes, it is. One of our favorite ones. Everyone talks about it. Anytime we do Outer Reaches, everyone's first question is, how soon do we get to Ted Bundy's house?
Wow. I don't think I've ever been there. I may have to check this out, just morbid, sick curiosity. You were telling me that the Salt Lake City Cemetery is also a popular spot.
It is, and that's also, we do it on our Old Town tour. We stop there. Also, in the warmer months, spring and summer, we actually do a full hour-and-a-half tour of the full cemetery as well. And this is what was part of our Heart Healthy initiative that we try to join in on with other companies, is to get people to walk around the full cemetery. We don't drive them around the cemetery saying, no, here's this. Yeah. We actually walk them gravestone to gravestone, like the legendary Emo's grave, Lily Grave, victim of the beast 666, things like that. That's where we drive them around too.
Now, I'm familiar with Emo's grave, from when I was a kid. Now, tell me about that other one.
Lily Grave, victim of the beast 666. On her tombstone, that's exactly what it says. So some people believe the fact that she may have died of being in possession of a demon. Others believe the fact that back out on the Four Corners where Route 66 is, there's an alternate highway called Highway 666. And she might have died on the freeway out there. No one knows for certain. And there's no real record of how she really became a victim of 666.
And that's right on the headstone.
Yes.
Wow, that is interesting. What else do you see up in the city cemetery?
City Cemetery, like I said, we take people over to Emo's grave, and that's the rumor or the legend has it of if you walk around his crypt 3 times saying Emo, 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 you can see his face and his red eyes lighting up. Some believe the fact that it's looking into your souls. Others believe the fact that it's simply him looking across the graveyard at his known nemesis, Simon Brandenburger, guy who he ran against for Senate. And they're right across from each other, and some believe that that's Emo looking at Simon with red glowing eyes.
Wow.
Another stop we make is at the cemetery is the Sugar House Jail that used to be at Sugar House Park. There's a giant mass grave for all the inmates there. But there's one grave that's next to it of an inmate that gets his own gravestone, and that belongs to a man by the name of Hiram Beebe, believed to be the Sundance Kid.
Wow. Well, see, I'm learning all kinds of things today. How do people sign up for these tours?
They can go online to grimmghosttours.com. There they'll see different headings that say, all of our tours, of the hosts that we have, and even dates that we're open. And we are a year-round going event. We're not just a seasonal thing that comes out during Halloween. We go every day throughout the year. We usually perform Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
What is the most popular time of year for these tours?
Usually, like I said, when we do our Salt Lake Cemetery in the warmer months, the cemetery is the biggest push. Right now, during the fall, I would have to say the Old Town has been our most favorite.
Do you ever branch out of the Salt Lake City area, or are you aware of other tours that maybe focus on Ogden and so on?
I know of another group that does tours daily in Park City. Those guys are another group that do walking. We take people on bus stops to stop. These guys actually take people on Park City Main Street and walk in building to building. Our company, we also do paranormal investigations occasionally. Like you said, we go out to other places. We go out. Our next stop will be this Friday, I believe, and we're going out to Ogden, Utah, to the Union Station.
Yeah.
And like I said, grimmghosttours.com, they can go on and they'll see a heading that says paranormal investigations. And they can actually reserve a spot to go out there with us. We have our own paranormal expert who goes out, and we don't just spend, an hour or 20 minutes. We spend a good 4 to 5 hours out there at these sites.
What is the creepiest site you've ever been to that kind of sends that chill up your back?
Ted Bundy's house. The first time I went out there with my bosses, part of our training, so we know the sites and all that, my boss didn't tell me we were actually on his property until I got this really uneasy, unwelcome feeling. The best way I can describe it is going over to your ex's house. You have to be there to get something, but your ex doesn't want you there. And so times that by 10, and that was the feeling I had, and I just wanted to get off that property as soon as I could.
What do you think that is? What causes that feeling?
Personally, for me, being a guy, I think it was the fact that the spirit of Ted Bundy was like, there's another man here, my presence, get off my land, this is my property, this is my place. For young ladies who get that uneasy feeling, I think it's the victims of Ted Bundy trying to warn them to get off the property before it's too late.
That is so creepy. That is really creepy. Brian, I appreciate you on this Halloween, spending time with us here at KSL. When you go out to do a paranormal investigation, what do you take with you, and what is the procedure?
Usually what we take with us, and we encourage people to actually bring flashlights, their own cameras, and like I said before, a tape recorder. It doesn't have to be like the 1980s push-click type thing. It could be a new age digital tape recorder. We encourage people to bring cameras that have flash on it, not just a camera phone, but your everyday household camera with flash. And that way you can take more than one picture of one place. That way you can either see an orb, and if it's not an orb, you can just see later on that it's just a piece of dust that you caught. We bring EMF readers. And so it's electronic magnetic readers. Ghosts feed off of electronic energy. And so we take those out there with us so people can see around, see if they can pick up a ghost energy nearby. And if they do, that's when we encourage them to take about 4 to 5 pictures. We also bring digital heat sensors. This way if someone says they can feel something cold on their back, we can take the heat gun, point it at their back to see if it's picking up the cold off their back as well.
And this actually happens. This
actually happens.
Wow. So you mentioned an orb. What happens, and how many of your patrons might see something like that?
Well, case in point, like I said, yesterday we went out to Ted Bundy's house. An orb is pretty much that of a sighting of a spirit within. Not full-on spirit, like a picture, like full-on ghost, head, everything. You just see the orb of what possibly could be the spirit of those in the area. And last night we actually had a group of young ladies. They were on the tour with us, And all of them had different cameras, and they took the same shot right by the cellar. That's the last standing thing of Ted Bundy's house. They all took a picture from different cell phones from different angles at that door, and we saw one. It's a white circle, pretty much. It stands out from the rest of the picture, kind of. And all of them at different angles had that same shot of that orb right there by the door of the root cellar.
Wow. That is just creeping me out. Brian, I really appreciate you joining us here at KSL. And again, it's GrimmGhostTours.com. Can I give the phone number?
I don't have it on me.
I've got it right here.
Okay.
It's 801-508-GRIM, of course, GRIM. Brian, have a very happy Halloween.